Sitesh Srivastav, who has a deep interest in corporate training, and he is closely associated with radio broadcasting. So, welcome to the show, Sitesh. How are you doing?
I'm well, Kanchan. It's great to catch up with you after some days. And I'm here for another interesting conversation. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. And today we are discussing about immigration. You see, 3 days back, we have celebrated International Immigration Day 2020. And the theme of this day was reimagining human humanity. You see, Siddesh, throughout human history, immigration has been a courageous expression of individuals' will to overcome adversity and to live a better life. You see, from antiquity, individuals, humans are migrating, immigrating to different continents, to different cities. And globalization today, together with the advances in communication and transportation, has greatly increased the number who have the desire and the capacity to move to other places. So, what is your idea on this?
Well, Kanchan, I agree with you that we as a humans, we have always been a migrant beings, migrant species, and we have always traveled from one place to another place. Only in the modern history, modern world order, which is our today's democracy or whatever crazy we can say, we talk about migration more and more. And I have been seeing this migration from various angles, and I would be really surprised to ask some people, some of the authorities in the United Nations, some of the experts in the immigration and migration, that this migration was always the hallmark of the humans. But in last 50 years or 100 years, we have been hearing about migration. When we talk about India's case, we have hearing about Bangladeshi migrants. When I live in Africa, I have heard about lot of North African places from there. The poor people from North Africa, they get onto the boats. They try to get into the coast of Italy or Greece, and that 300 mile or 300 kilometers of the sea stretch is very, very treacherous, very, very dangerous. Many people have died. Then America's history, USA's history is full of migration history. From 1776, they proudly say that they are a country from built by migrants. So, but my thing is that with the today's world order, how much is the migration story a crisis story, or shall it be turned into something which is a innovative story? It's a mixing of cultures story. How we have to take it in that way? So, what is your take on a generally when we say about a migrant's story?
Actually, as I see, because even a new era, there has created challenges and opportunities for the societies who are migrating, and that is throughout the world. It also has underscore the clear linkage between migration and development, as well as the opportunity it provides for the co-development, and that is a concentrated improvement, economic and social condition at both places like origin and the destination of migrant. But lately, we have been seeing that migration has created a havoc. When we really see the number of international immigration or people living in a country other than their country or birth in 2019 has reached around 272 million. Women immigrants were 48% of the total number, and the estimated 38 million were children among them. And among all these immigration, though this is a as I told you, it has a history of centuries. We have been migrating as a human race, but 3 out of 4 international immigrants are working at age that is between 20 to 64. And we also seen the kind of depression, the kind of atrocities being seen by the immigrants. And of course, there are some countries who are also facing problem, especially in economic and social development of their own country, and that has created a problem for the destination countries. Now, approximately 31% of international migrants worldwide are Asia, 30% are in Europe, 26% is in America, and 10% in Africa, and 3% in other countries. So, what I feel is that though this is kind of a trait, human trait, but nowadays due to the crisis, it has become a crisis, and it also exposed by COVID-19 pandemic, and that has created a real problem, a real situation for both immigrants and for the destination countries.
That's right, Kanchan. You are so bang on with the data, and I am really happy that you spoke about that data. My take on the migrant challenge, which is termed always as migrant crisis, whether it is a migrant crisis in Europe, people coming from the troubled regions of the Gulf, or it is a migrant crisis of the southern Europe, people coming from the northern Africa, from Libya, Algeria to the European borders, or it is a migrant crisis at the Mexico border with America. Last year, or in 2018-19, I have read that there have been a lot of trespassing between the Mexico border and American border, where even some Indians were also there, between that border. There was a story of a small 6-year-old girl dying while trying to cross the border with her father. And these are the stories all across the world. The challenge is that how do we face it as a country? How do we facilitate it with the people who are trying to enter? Generally, the migration has always been a human choice. But last 100 years or so, we have been seeing, rather than being a choice, it has been forced upon. I have met a lot of people from Asia Pacific in Japan. I have met them in Africa also, who have no choice than to apply for asylum. They are the typical migrants. For people like us who are into the working field, we choose migration based on our choice, whether I would like to stay in Europe or Africa or Japan, but that is my choice. And that is not a challenge. The challenge is the crisis that happens when people who do not have options and then they cross. So there is a United Nations International Organization on Migrants. I think they keep a record of the migration happening. During the COVID, they have figured out that there have been almost like 3,000 deaths in the last 10 months of this pandemic on all the migratory routes. And it is, maybe that is just half the data. So every country today, which a big country, small country, they are facing this migration crisis. And I would say, as per the United Nations Human Convention on the human rights, the migration has to be taken as a human right. But at the same time, with all the checks and balances that a country would like to be put on those migrants, like in India, we are facing the Bangladeshi migrants issue on the Assam side. And they came around 1971 war with Pakistan during Bangladesh liberation. Now that has grown. It has become a challenge for us. Similar is the migration in the European countries. A lot of people from the Gulf, they moved on to Germany, France, and other European countries, and we are seeing some challenges on that front. Lot of migration happens in the Southern America. So we need to have a human approach towards migration. Probably we need to speak about it, talk about it. We try to see if some migration has already happened. Can those people, rather than deport them, can we bring them into the mainstream?
Yes,
What do you?
yes. I feel there are mixed element of unforeseeability and emergency and complexity, because what happens, immigrants come to destination countries, and I've heard a lot of stories regarding they are not able to mix up with the destination population due to their belief and due to their social structure. And apart of this, there are other difficulties of these international immigrants, because they require a lot of, as you said, lot of cooperation and collective action among the countries. And as you mentioned, the United Nations is also playing an active and catalyst role in this area, with the aim to creating a dialogue and interaction within the country and the region. But again, the problem still persists, because there has to be some experience and some collaboration in this particular field in this subject, because this is a human nature. We have been migrating. Even here also in India, we do migration from our home to Bombay, for example, to get into a city of dreams and get our means and our dreams fulfilled. So, but when we talk about international immigration, so that has become kind of a talking point nowadays, because there are some tensions within the communities, and why they are moving from their home country again, because due to in search of a good life, definitely, and there are some wars going on, so they have to escape from that. So all these things, what I feel, require a lot of collaboration, lot of help, and lot of understanding among the countries how to deal with these immigration issues, migrant issues in the destination country and countries, as well as in their home country, so that these people can remain peacefully, happily at their place. And this is what I feel. This is my point to this.
Yes, Kanchan. Yeah, I think, Kanchan, that you are talking about the inclusiveness of the migrants into the society which they go in. And that's exactly what my thinking also has been. That there are very few places in this world which we say they have been melting pots of cultural assimilation, amalgamation. India has been one of it. For thousands of years, we say a lot of people have come, a lot of communities have come, whether they came as invaders or they came as traders. They have always come and they have assimilated into our culture. So more or less, we are our Indian society is also a migrant society. Then in our country, we have so many different cultures, languages. As I would like to say, every 500 kilometers, the culture changes in our country. Similarly, I would also think one very interesting way when we talk about the migrant crisis internationally, it is important to see the structural facilities available to the migrants to be part of the country where they have come. Plus, they need to contribute to the not only to the economy but also to the cultural assimilation of their new acquired country. And nothing best comes to my mind, Kanchan, than to share our Indian migration story that is very interesting to my heart. And I have been studying Indian migration in last 100 or 150 years in various parts of the world. In South Africa itself, there have been almost 1.4 million people of Indian descent, which we call South African Indians. They all were taken by the British system in the indentured times. and they have lived there to tell the tale in 3 generations, 4 generations. That is the same story in Mauritius, Fiji, Gibraltar, Suriname, and other places. And the stories of the migration shall, if we tell to the current citizens of any country in terms of the success brought by the migrants, success brought by the migrants' children. I think those stories will push lot of migrated population to contribute positively in the economy of that country. And today, one of the great examples is Kamala Harris, a first generation migrant story, a child. And there are so many such stories across the world. And I'm sure not only from the Indian population, but also from the other populations, other communities, other nationalistic populations. We have great migrant stories. One of the great breakthrough COVID vaccine is from a Turkish migrant in United States, I'm told. So if we talk in those terms, I think the migrant crisis can be handled in a better way, and the incidents that we see all across the world, not only incidents, we also see the fallbacks, we also see some pushbacks by the migrants, by the acquiring country. All those things can be minimized.
Yes, point. I mean, it's a good point. And what I feel is that we have to think about these migrants, and again with the theme 2020 theme, which is reimagining human mobility. I think we should stress on that. We have to be creative, responsible, and collaborative in providing opportunities to immigrants, opportunity to migrants. So it was so good to talk to you today, Sitesh, and we'll meet again with some other good subject in our next episode. Till then, bye bye and take care.
Thank you, Kanchan. Have a great day ahead, and let's migrate to Mars now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Very soon we will be. But we should have a kind of a real setup. You see, we
Yeah.
can't be Martian just like that. Okay, it was lovely talking to you, Sitesh. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye, Kanchan.
Bye.